Pasensya na. Ignorante kay kog Zoom as in. Anyway, sige. So we'll start with makita nyo, dears, can you see the presentation? Can you acknowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, sige. So for this afternoon, we're going to start now with actually the other body fluids, no? Starting first with the number one, other body fluids, which is your CSF, okay? So ako siyang gi-order, dears, na depende sa inyong TOS, no? Table of Specifications. Kay paglando na ako sa inyong table of specifications, mas daghang questions sa CSF, sa semen of course, as it should, daghan siya ng questions dira. And aside from that, daghan pong questions sa fecalysis, no? So that's our order of lecture for the next days. Unahon nato na sila na daghang percentage sa inyong TOS for your exam, and then the remaining body fluids na medyo gamay lang ato ra siya ipaulahi. Okay? Para at least if dita ka lecture ato, nanamoy notes, diretso na mo study and all. All right? So we'll start with CSF. And then today, baka maka-extend ta light lang just to begin with semen, all right? Which is your favorite, charot. The favorite body fluid ni Marilyn, charot, tsaka lang. So semen, no? That's introduction lang muna for today. And then tomorrow we'll continue with semen. And then supposed after semen is fecalysis na gyud, gastric fluid, and duodenum or duodenal content. So that's our goal for tomorrow. Mahuman na siya tomorrow. But because para on Wednesday, if Nadri holiday, no, we'll continue now with the remaining body fluids from synovial, amniotic, and the serous fluids, mga peritoneal, pericardial, and pleural. All right, so muna siya tong target. And then sa Thursday, last na gyud is your UDO notes nato and automation. Ang automation kay mga machines ramang good, so pwede siyang ma-summarize or unsa ba ato nang emphasize kay murag ubay-ubay po tong question sa automation based on your TOS. So ato ra siyang ipaulahi, okay? And then on Wednesday, I'll announce siguro or pwede sa Thursday lang ta mag-quiz, okay? So depende lang. So for the quiz, focus more on urinalysis, tanan gyud from physical to microscopic, and included the renal disease. So expect na mga case studies, sa inyong quiz. So like muni siya ang imuhang urinalysis results, what is the possible disease of the patient? Okay, all right. So for the pre-recorded of the renal disease and mga metabolic disorders, I have already uploaded that. So if you still have time, please watch them. Okay, if you can. All right. So ito ni paspaso, dear. Sana man matapos natin to. I'm so scared. Charot, but anyway. All right. So again, this is your CSF or cerebrospinal fluid. All right. Now, what is CSF? Of course, your CSF is actually the fluid that bathes, no, iyahang ginabasa. Okay, imuhang brain and spinal cord. All right. And it's considered to be the third major body fluid. So who do you think ang first na major body fluid? Who do you think? Wala siya gi-mention sa book yun, pero unsa yung palagay na major body fluid yun? Kinsa man? See? Okay, magaling, blood. Okay, water. I feel like body fluid, man, so possible blood. And then second is, of course, your urine. Okay? And then third is CSF. Okay, pwede din naman water. Okay. This bitaw, no, basin water. But anyway, in terms of body fluid, siguro, blood ang una, and then urine, and then CSF is considered to be the third major body fluid. Now, what is the function of this CSF? Of course, it functions in supplying nutrients to the nervous system because it's a body fluid. So there are dissolved solutes, dissolved substances that arise from the body and kailangan sa CNS. So siya mo provide. Next is, of course, to remove metabolic wastes from the brain, no, from normal metabolism of brains, mga byproducts, waste products. So ang CSF mo collect ana. And of course, lastly, it produces a mechanical barrier, no, to cushion the brain and spinal cord against trauma. All right. So na protection, na barrier, na face shield, charot, tsaka lang, na barrier imuhang, na barrier imong brain and spinal cord, no, to prevent sudden changes in pressure, trauma man gani, all right, para again dili kaayo ma-affected or dili alog or dili kaayo ma-damage gyud imuhang brain and spinal cord. All right, so that's the main functions of your CSF. All right, now we go now to the physiology of your CSF. So asa man siya na form, asa ni siya makitaan. All right, now of course in the brain, as you can see, diba, we have these outer coverings known as your meninges, no? And these meninges, they are of three types or three layers. Number one, you have the dura mater, all right, or also known as the outer layer, which lines na gyud the skull, the bone, no, and the vertebral canal. The second layer is arachnoid matter, or also known as arachnoidea. All right, that's why it's called arachnoid, because iyang appearance murag spider-like web. All right, so na siya murag filamentous na appearance para sa ani. All right, so that's why it's called kikutasan ko, Char. Okay, pasensya. Di ka nag-quickie. Chara, chara. So arachnoid matter, again, spider web-like appearance. That's why it's called arachnoid. So marshag spider. All right. And below the arachnoid matter is your subarachnoid space. And this subarachnoid space is where your CSF flows. All right. Dira siya mo flow. And then ang last layer of your meninges is of course the pia mater. All right. And this pia mater siya nagyud ang nagcling, no? Nagtapot na gyud siya. Iyan ang gi-wrap mismo ang brain tissue mismo. All right? Okay, so sa mga sige chat. Okay, on calm down. All right, sige. Now, here is a closer look, no? So you have here the bone mismo, and then you have first the dura mater, and then you have the arachnoid. As you can see, mura siya og spider-like appearance, no? And then the inner kaning murag white here na nagtapot na gyud sa surface sa imong brain, that is the pia mater, all right? And kani siya na space, this is the subarachnoid space where again the CSF flows. And kani siya murag mga protrusions diri that is known as the arachnoid villi, all right? Arachnoid granulation, all right? So wait, saan akong gitasan? Tayo sa lang yun. Dili ni siya COVID ha. I think, ano akong ikutasan? Okay, anyway. Ayan, katambukon. Kailangan ako mag-exercise. Okay, all right. Samgyup pa more. Anyway, all right. So that's for the layers of the meninges. All right. So basically, all of these layers, of course, they protect the brain and your spinal cord. All right. Now we go now to the formation of your CSF. No, so again, your CSF is produced mainly by the choroid plexuses. Ayan, this one, this layer, choroid plexus cells. All right, and it is constantly produced, no, at a rate of 20 milliliters per hour. Take note of that, dears. No, 20 milliliters per hour. If you have the notes of Sir Errol, ayan, which again, dears, I highly emphasize na please ato ra gyud na. Ayaw dyan na siyang i-post online, ayaw siyang i-monetize. Sinasabi ko talaga sa inyo, dali ra kayo siya matrace yun. All right? And please have some respect din naman. Okay, so wala na dyan ko time to really, you know, make my own. So muto akong gi-share lang yun ninyo kay para magamit ninyo for the compre. Okay, so I hope ato-ato na. Okay, so again, for the choroid plexus, di ba na drawing dira. So unsa yung mga possible na ma-absorb, mapunta sa brain or mapunta sa CSF. Okay. Now again, as you can see, you have here the choroid plexus. All right. So this one again is what produces your CSF. Okay. But again, your CSF is actually not an ultrafiltrate of plasma. So there are blood vessels. Ayan. Blood na musulod diri. Okay. Diri sa tunga sa imong choroid plexus. And of course, the blood, di ba? Unlike your urine, i-filter gyud siya tarong or i-filter gyud siya in a way that the concentration of the filtrate kay same sa dissolved substances imuhang blood. All right, but for CSF, because of this tight fitting junctions, ayan, kani mga tight fitting junctions, medyo tight siya, girl. Tight siya, okay? Tight, no? Never been touched, okay? Basta tight siya, so therefore, those substances cannot easily pass through padulong sa imuhang choroid plexus. So therefore, your CSF is not considered an ultrafiltrate of plasma. When you say ultrafiltrate, manggod, it means that the concentration in a way of the low molecular weight substances are in comparison or pare-parehas lang sa plasma. But for CSF, as you can see, diba? Because of the tight-fitting junctions in between the cells of your choroid plexus, all right, and sa imong endothelium, dili makapass through easily, all right? And that is known again as the blood-brain barrier, or also known as the blood-CSF barrier. And this blood-brain or blood-CSF barrier is very important because, of course, it protects the brain from those harmful substances that may be found in your blood, all right? So such as mga toxic agents, no, mga microorganisms, and even mga drugs. That's why one of the challenges in treating CNS infections is the crossing, or is the ability of the drug to cross or to overcome the blood-brain barrier. That's why medyo challenging siya in terms of treating CNS infections because again, na ay blood-brain barrier. So dili tanang drugs makapass through the blood-brain barrier to effect or to cause an effect on the brain, especially if infected siya or nasa inflammation. All right? So again, that's the production of your CSF. Again, choroid plexus, ayan, siya mo produce. Again, it's not an ultrafiltrate of plasma. CSF is not an ultrafiltrate of plasma because again, the concentration of the dissolved solutes, especially the low molecular weight protein substances, they are not the same. No, they are quite in lower concentrations compared to plasma. All right, and you have the arachnoid villi or granulations that we have mentioned. Again, ang purpose is to reabsorb the CSF, balik, no, padulong sa blood, sa capillaries na nasa imuhang skull. All right, okay. Okay, wait, naghulat sa waiting room. Okay, all right, sige. Ayun, so again, di ba? Arachnoid villi or granulations, iyahang main purpose is to reabsorb balik the CSF that has nani-flow na all over sa brain and spinal cord. And again, you have the BBB, no, the big blue butts na charot. Now, wala dyan ako gigamit ever. Okay. You have the blood-brain barrier. Again, this tight-fitting junction, all right, that prevents, no, the easily dissolving or easily passing through of different substances from the blood padulong sa brain. And again, it protects the brain from these mga harmful chemicals and harmful substances. Now, disruption to this BBB, of course, it can lead to the introduction of mga microorganisms, toxic chemicals to the brain, and it could also indicate that there is something wrong mismo sa brain kaya naguba iyahang BBB. All right, so such as your multiple sclerosis and even meningitis. Okay, all right, so we trace now the flow of your CSF. So river flows in yung magandang level. All right. So these are the ventricles or choroid plexus kung asa siya makita. Ayan. So dira mag-start imuhang CSF. Okay. So your CSF is produced here, choroid plexus, and then of course it flows padulong sa all over the brain and of course the spinal cord, mabot siya sa spinal cord. And you have the arachnoid granulations or arachnoid villi, dili dapit sa skull, which again, iyang main purpose is to reabsorb the CSF balik. Okay? Para di po siya ma-waste. Okay? And para continuous lang ang circulation. And again, iyang rate is about 20 ml per hour or in a day, it's about 500 ml per day. Okay? So, 20 ml times 24, so mga 480. No? So, 20 ml per hour or 500 ml per day. That's why also sa BBB dears, dira sa drawing, if you have the notes of Sir Errol, di ba kabantay mo na ang albumin, ang protein, gikan sa plasma, iyahang concentration kay grams per liter. Pero pag abot sa CSF, iyahang concentration na is mg per dl. Nigamay siya, of course, because of the BBB. Dili tanan na concentrations of protein na found sa plasma maatog yun sa CSF because of the BBB. All right? So there's selective filtration. Ayan, selective filtration of the plasma. So it's not an ultrafiltrate yun of plasma. All right? So that's for your CSF. Okay, the formation. So again, here are some pictures, Japan, of the blood-brain barrier. So para again, mas ma-visualize natin. So again, this is the arachnoid, subarachnoid space here. Girl, naman nagkadaghan man yung mga tao. Ni Joy. I don't understand. Okay. Okay, sige. Basta hindi na ako mga parents naglanto, nag-atay na yun, charot. Okay, anyway, ayan, sige. So, you have here again the blood-brain barrier. As you can see, dugol kaayo, no? You have here, muna siya ang blood vessel na cross-section. And ang kilid na kay ang brain tissue. But as you can see, medyo tight-fitting junctions. Okay, tight-fitting junctions. So, dili yun agad-agad makapass through ang cells, no, substances found in the blood padulong sa imong CSF. Okay? All right. And you have here again same picture gyapon para mas maklaro gyud. You have blood-brain barrier and the blood-CSF barrier. So ang point ra gyud, both of them they have tight-fitting junctions. And again, sa purpose to prevent the easy penetration or passing through of different substances from the blood padulong sa CSF because again these substances may be harmful. All right? Okay, so that's for the CSF formation. Okay? All right. And CSF flow. All right? So more on anatomy na siya, dears, no? So at least naratay background kung sinahitabo sa inyong lawas. Okay? All right, sige. Okay. What is happening? Ano dagang mo request? Pasensya, wait. Let me check. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Sige. Okay, so we now go to our main main star ng Pasko, which is your specimen collection, no? Your CSF specimen collection and handling. Of course, for collection of CSF, we perform that through lumbar puncture or spinal tap. All right, and usually it happens between the third and fourth, or between the fourth and fifth vertebrae. All right, or sa imuhang backbone. Okay, and depende siya sa patient, no? Because in mga adults, the spinal cord murag doesn't reach daw the third and fourth vertebrae. That's why okay dito mo kuha og sample. But for infants, because medyo naapa dito ang spinal cord, dito ta sa fourth and fifth vertebrae. So again, the best location is again between the third, fourth, or fifth vertebrae. All right. And again, when is it not recommended to puncture? Of course, when there are infections at the puncture site. Why? Because if na infection diri, such as mga like bacterial infection, mga carbuncle or whatever, no, it can introduce the bacteria to the spinal cord or to the CSF, which can cause noon infection. All right. Okay. Pero if the patient already has bacteremia or nanagid siya blood infection, bacteria, or whatever, then of course, na naman already there sa sulod, ay muhang kagaw, so pwede na siya kuhaan. Okay? Alright, so ang contraindication lang yun, or when should you not perform a lumbar puncture, is of course, if ang site kay contaminated or naa siya infection. Okay? So as you can see, ang site is of course thoroughly cleansed, antisepsis, di ba? Kanang nasa picture, color brown, of course, gamit ng iodine. Okay? And of course, gibutangan po siya local anesthetic para murag wala kayo pain. Alright? Now of course, after puncturing bursts, so kanang mga mag-neuro dira or mga mag-surgeon ba? So pag puncture nimo, it will or you will hear a pop na sound daw, okay? And of course, pag open or pag puncture nimo, you have to measure the pressure, opening pressure, using using an instrument known as the manometer, okay? Manometer, all right? And the normal, and the normal opening pressure of your CSF, taka lang. Ako sa taod ni ako ang makeshift na whiteboard. Sana di na siya maatak. Okay. So ang opening pressure of your CSF, yung normal should be about 50 to 180 millimeter of mercury. All right? So muna siya normal dapat. So ang pag-measure mo using a manometer, muna siya spelling, manometer, the opening pressure should be about 50 to 180 millimeter of mercury. If ang pressure kay lower or below than this, then of course, the volume of CSF na pwedeng mo makolect, pwedeng mugamay, okay? Because again, to prevent damages kay increased ang pressure ba or low ang pressure, all right? So dapat it's within the range of 50 to 180 millimeters of mercury. If pasok na siya ali na range, dears, then of course, the amount of CSF na atong pwedeng makuha is about 10 to 20 ml. All right? So maximum of 20 ml of CSF atong pwedeng makuha. All right? And of course, after collection, you also have to take the closing pressure. So na siya opening remarks, tapos siya closing remarks. Ganun. So if ang opening pressure dapat is 50 to 180 millimeters of mercury, the closing pressure should be 10 to 30 millimeters of mercury lower lower than the opening pressure. All right? So 10 to 30 millimeters of mercury lower than the opening pressure, imuhang closing pressure. All right? So para to prevent again mga damages, possible damages to the brain and to the spinal cord. All right? Okay, so that's for specimen collection. All right. And after collection, okay pa ba? All right, ayan, sige. So after collection, all right, you have to distribute the tubes na into, again, 3 or more na sterile tubes. All right? So 3 or more na sterile tubes. Okay? All right. Ano di sila maka-join? Okay. All right. Okay. What's happening? All right. Okay. So after collection, of course, 20 ml, di ba? Maximum of 20 ml. Pero again, if na changes sa pressure, pwede siyang as low as 1 to 2 ml rin mo pwedeng makollect. All right? Pero if daghan ng volume, you have to distribute the tubes or distribute the CSF into 4 tubes or 3 or more tubes. All right? And sterile tubes siya dapat. And of course, we already know that para sa mga tubes. Ayan. So 3 CSF tubes, it should be sterile. It should be again numbered sequentially and labeled. All right. So for tube 1, para kinsa siya na department sa laboratory, sa chemistry or sa serology. And if dili siya ma-store agad, dili siya ma-process agad-agad, it should be stored at freezing temperature. Tube 2 is always for micro, all right? And again, if dili siya ma-process, iyang storage should be at room temperature, all right? That's according to Strassinger and Brunzel. And lastly, for tube number 3 is for cell count. So sa HEMA, all right? So sa HEMA, ang imuhang last tube. And if there is, again, delay in processing, the storage should be refrigeration temperature. All right. And if there's an excess tube pag yun, no, this tube should be reserved for micro or even further chemical or serological tests. All right. Because the fourth tube, again, will better exclude skin contamination. So we have here the reasons ganong ang tube 1 kay for this. No? So ang tube 1, it's least affected by blood or bacteria introduced by your spinal tap. So therefore, pwede siya for chemistry, all right, or for serology. Ayan. Tube 2 is usually for micro because again, mas less ng contaminants from the first tube of possible contaminants pag spinal tap nimo. And tube 3 is again least likely to contain cells na from the spinal tap from first nimo pagpuncture. So medyo less na ang contaminants of cells, no? So that's why ang tube 3 is for HEMA. And for tube 4, again, as mentioned, better exclusion. Sterile na gid siya na tube, all right? In a way, so it's better for micro and further chemical or serological tests, all right? Now, if there are leftover, no, na mga CSF, of course, you don't have or you don't throw it away, all right? It's better to preserve this excess fluid, all right? Because you don't know kung sa mga possible na mga further tests, all right? Na pwedeng puberty, charot. Pwedeng i-request sa imuhang doctor, all right? And approximate pila, okay, sige, ako i-answer later. All right, so again, diba, excess fluid should not be frozen, all right? Until excess fluid should not be discarded. And it's best na i-freeze siya, especially for further chemistry and serological tests. Because again, this will prevent the recollection of CSF from the patient. Imagine, no, sakit biya na siya, dears, no? So imagine mo na siyang ilabay agad-agad. Ikaw kung ikuhaan og CSF, diba? Lalim ba, diba? So dili, all right? So to be more safe and to be more safe and to be more secure, it's best na to preserve this remaining mga fluids sa CSF. All right? So if kamo dears ma-assign mo CM ha, it's normal to receive body fluids gyud. Of course, clean mic, no? So apil na gyud ninyo, dili gyud ihi. All right? So make sure gyud to really look at the request kung unsa siya na fluid because na ibang body fluids that may appear as urine. Para siya appearance sa urine. So possible na ma-process nimo siya as urinalysis noon. Okay? And of course, for other body fluids, na siya other methodologies, not only microscopic. Pwede po siya i-culture, pwede siyang chemical chemistry test or serological. So you have to look at the request form and label kung unsa gid siya. Alright? Because again, as I mentioned, na ibang mga body fluids, especially mga pleural, pericardial, if wala lagi problema or if di siya bloody, mura gid siya ihi yung appearance. Okay? So you have to look you have to be careful yun. Okay, I have an experience before sa Galyares as in may gani akong medtech ato kay buutan ra niya friends ra na ako. So nakadawat ko og sample. I really thought it was urine. So ako siyang gi-process as urine. So ako siyang gibutan sa tube niya, gi-measure na ako ang physical. Paglato na ako sa color, kaya ako na, ano maning brown? Tapos, iyahang clarity kay very, very turbid. Like, hindi siya makita. So, ano ko na, okay, basin, naagi problema dagay. So, of course, gi-feed na sa machine. So, wala na po ko nag-double check, dangag, no? And then, muraman tog night shift. So, pag night shift sa Galyares, ay PM no katong 16 hours. So, pag 16 hours ka sa Galyares, bisag asa ka na section ma-assigned. So, after sa CM, ni bati ko sa chemistry na po kay na i-process. So, after some time, gidul ko sa RMT na-assign sa CM. So, ano siya na ako na, Mark, kung saan mo i-process? Ano siya na, paglanto na ako sa microscopic, daghan kayong bacteria. Huwag daghan po kayong ano. So, therefore, ako na-process dahil dears kay stool. Liquid stool siya, dears. Then, na-process na ako siya as UA because it really looks like UA. So, it was my fault. Kaya wala na ako gilanta kung saan request form. So, for fecalysis na ito siya. And then na-aspirate siya sa machine for urinalysis. So, di ba? So, ang microscopic ato sa machine, dagan kayong bacteria daw. So, na-shock siya. Ano ha? Ganong inani ang presentation. So, that's another that's an emphasis akong point that you have to look at the request kung unsa gyud siya na fluid. Okay, ginabutang man gyud na siya, ginalabel siya as pericardial, pleural ba siya, is it peritoneal, is it CSF, no? And if you don't know kung unsa siya na fluid, dears, okay, all right, and kabalo ka na murag sure ka na dili na siya ihi, make sure na dili ka magpasagad og labay. Alright? Hindi ka magpasagad og labay sa imuhang section. Okay? Especially if nagamit kang centrifuge. Okay? Nga paglato nimo na ay tube. So nya clear pagid siya. So ga-think ka na ay okay basin balancer ani, tubig ra ni, saya akong ilabay. Nga pagkaugma dito, nanay nangita sa asa tong CSF na kung gi-centrifuge patay. Wa na gyud ka dears, okay? So you have to be careful. All right? Nako, God forbid ha ma-experience niyo na pero please ha, be careful. Look at the request form, be careful good lang tawa kung unsa ang fluid. Kay gi-mention gyud na siya dito kung unsa. All right? And makabalo po ka sa tests kay usually for other body fluids na gina siya cell count, kana cell count. And then na po request for micro, na po request for cell block sa histopath, na po request for mga chemistry. So for UA, di ba, usually wala may ana. So you have to be careful. Look at the request form ha. Ayaw suwid na ako. So daghan ko mga bloopers, mga bloopers sa akong internship. Pero may ganit, hindi naman siya, minor lang man siya. So at least, di po siya life-threatening in a way. So pasensya. Alright, so how much volume daw? So of course, you depende na sa doctor sa pagbutang. Kaya ang doctor man ang magbutang ana. Kay pag-collect ana, of course, dili man ang medtech ang mo-collect. It's the doctor. So in a way, mag-estimate na sila pila ka tubes ang maigo. Alright? So they estimate. Sila na yung mag-estimate kung pila. So ilan na i-divide kung pila tong volume na ilang nakuha. Alright? So wala gi-mention kung pila gyud ka ml kada tube. Alright? Pero I believe na ano siya, depende siya sa doctor kaya ang doctor ang makuha. So, iyan ang i-estimate kung pila gyud ka amount ang imuhang makuha. Pero again, depende kung gamay gyud kaayo ang volume na nakuha. Then of course, depende po sa doctor kung saan ipa-prioritize, all right? But again, according to Strassinger, if only one CSF tube gamay ra gyud ang volume like 1 ml or 2 ml, then of course ato i-prioritize katong kailangan jud na sterile or dili sa siya matandog, you have microbio. You could also get a small sample lang from the 1 CSF tube which you will allocate for micro and then the remaining dito na sa hema and then chemistry. All right? So micro dito is sterile, atong i-prioritize para again ma-recover gid nato ang kagaw na naa, all right? Because that's important. Okay, most of the time or the most common reason why people or why doctors request for CSF analysis, it's because of meningitis food. So meningitis, of course, can be caused by a lot of agents. One of that is bacterial. So of course, we have to prioritize microbiology for culture, all right? And for hema, of course, for the cells, because your cells may disintegrate within 2 hours after collection. So it's best na siyang i-second. And lastly, for chemistry, because at least ang chemistry, ito i-measure na lang kay mga analytes, no? Mga dissolved substances, mga enzymes, mangani, or mga glucose. Pwede na siya, if ma-delete pa good, pwede na siyang i-freeze, pwede na siyang preserve, no? But again, atong prioritize with this micro, all right? Because we have to culture, no? We have to identify the organism that is causing the meningitis, all right? Okay, so that's for your that's for your different tubes, all right? Take note of that, dears ka. Very common, tube 2 of CSF is for what? Tube 1 of CSF is for blank. So, alam nyo na, all right? So, CMH na. CMH na imuhang mnemonic, CMH. Okay? And if one tube ra, MHC. Okay? Micro hema chemistry. Okay? All right, sige. Now, this is from Brenzel, dears, table gapon of the tubes. Ayan. So, as you can see, gibutangan niya temperature lang. So, frozen, of course, at -15 to -30. For microbio, you have 19 to 26 room temperature. And for tube 3, cell counts, refrigerator temperature, 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. All right? So, gibutangan niya temperature. All right? And here are some examples of your tubes na pwedeng gamiton. Again, labeled sequentially. So, na tube 1, tube 2, tube 3. And then, of course, if may mga excess na fluid after processing from different sections, pwede siyang itipok tanan, all right? And preserve for additional tests. Okay? All right. So, that's for specimen collection. All right. Okay. Ang dami nagjo-join. Okay. All right, sige. Okay, next we go now to your CSF total volume. So more on the physical aspects na. All right, so for CSF total volume, depende siya sa references actually, no. Pero ang pinaka-common is it mentions that for adults, it's about 90 to 150 ml. Okay? But for Brunzel, as you can see, 85 to 150. And for the old Strassenger editions and Hubbard, it's 140 to 170. Okay? So sir, kung pautanong me, what is the total volume of CSF? What should we answer? Kanang middle, 90 to 150. Kaya daghang nag-ingon. As you can see, even ang Henrys. Okay? So 90 to 150 ml daw ang volume sa CSF. Normal yun. Alright? Pero ang ato makollect is about 20 ml lang. Pero in the brain and the spinal cord, ang major or ang maximum or total volume nato for CSF is 90 to 150. Alright? And for neonates, it's about 10 to 60 ml. Of course, medyo bata pa, baby pa, so medyo gamay pa ang brain, spinal cord, so medyo gamay pang volume na ilang ma-produce. Okay? Now we go na to your CSF appearance, no? So for the normal CSF appearance, of course, it's pale, crystal clear, all right? It actually may resemble water. Yung viscosity po kay same sa water, all right? Now for different abnormal appearances, it can be hazy, turbid, milky, or even cloudy. And what are the possible reasons? Of course, if increase in WBCs, if greater than 200 cells per UL, RBCs greater than 400, lipids and protein, and of course, the presence of microorganisms, all right? And also xanthochromic. When you say xanthochromic, actually, ang literal translation niya is orange, meaning it's really orange, no? Pero there are varying degrees of color. So from colors pink to yellow to orange, then if inanang appearance, we describe the CSF as xanthochromic. Okay? So xanthochromic, it's mainly due to hemoglobin degradation product. So it's because of hemolysis, all right? So kung pink pa siya, no, medyo bago pa siya ni hemolyze. So slight amount of oxyhemoglobin. As it progresses or as it becomes older, of course, oxyhemoglobin becomes bilirubin. So that's why it's yellow. And kung orange na gani, there is heavy hemolysis. So daghan na kaayong amounts of hemoglobin na na-convert to bilirubin and then further degradation pag yun. All right? So that's the different reasons, no, for your colors. Other causes of xanthochromic CSF, you have bilirubin, of course, increased carotene, sorry, increased melanin, increased protein if greater than 150 mg per DL, and rifampin. All right, so atong mga possible causes, mga medications. All right, next, bloody. All right, so if medyo gross yun na red, gross na bloody, this is seen if ang RBCs is greater than 6,000 RBCs per UL. All right, and there could be two major reasons. It could be a traumatic tap or an intracranial hemorrhage. So when you say traumatic tap, meaning pag-puncture na ay naigo na blood vessel. And this blood vessel introduced the blood, peripheral blood, into the specimen. Whereas for intracranial hemorrhage, nagay bleeding within the brain, all right? And which led to the appearance of your CSF na bloody. So we have to differentiate the two, all right? And so may mga tests na itong pwedeng i-perform, all right? Number one is for the distribution of the tubes. So as you can see, ang traumatic tap, uneven, meaning mas daghan gyud sa tube 1, and then as you go along sa later tubes, mas magkagagmay siya. Because again, pag puncture nimo, di ba? So of course, pag puncture nimo sa blood vessel, pagkuha nimo, mas daghan gyud sa tube 1 kay dito siya na concentrate. Okay? Kay dito siya gyud ang unang na puncture, di ba? So pag initially puncture nimo sa imuhang diri sa vertebrae, if na kay naigo na blood vessel, so of course tanang blood ato na nag-produce or tanang blood ato mapunta sa tube 1. Pag abot sa tube 2, of course, magkahinay ng blood flow na puncture sa blood vessel, kinanay coagulation. So of course, mas clear na imuhang later tubes. So that's for traumatic tap, uneven. Whereas for your intracranial hemorrhage, as in it's bleeding na gyud here, no? So bahalag from tube 1 to tube 3, equal na gyud iyahang color. Because again, sa sulod pa lang daanan ay bleeding. All right? So bahalag unsa na area or unsa na part sa CSF imuhang makollect na nagyuy red na appearance. Kay sa sulod pa lang daanan ay bleeding. All right? So that's intracranial hemorrhage. Next, for clot formation, of course, for traumatic tap, positive siya. It could be clotted because it introduced fibrinogen from the peripheral blood atong na-puncture na blood vessel sa imuhang specimen. Whereas for intracranial hemorrhage, it could be negative because your CSF doesn't have fibrinogen. Okay, so walay clot formation na pwedeng mahitabo. All right. Next, for supernatant, of course, clear ang traumatic tap. All right, because again, it's recent lang ang RBCs, no, or recent lang imuhang pagpuncture. So if imo siyang centrifuge, of course, museto sa ilalom ang mga RBCs, your supernatant can be clear. So your RBCs wala pa na hemolyze. Whereas for your intracranial hemorrhage, xanthochromic na because possibly nadugay na ang hemorrhage. And RBCs start to lyse within 2 hours, okay? And within 2 hours, so dugay na siya. Intracranial hemorrhage. So therefore, it can produce a xanthochromic CSF. Simuhang intracranial hemorrhage. For erythrophages, these are macrophages that has an ingested RBC. Of course, absent siya sa traumatic tap, kay recent lang man siya. So of course, wala pa yung macrophages that could have devoured or could have eaten the RBCs. In comparison to intracranial hemorrhage, dugay na siya nahitabo. Alright? So therefore, nanay mga macrophages na nag-ingest sa RBCs. And lastly, D-dimers to the same. Negative, di ba? Usually ang D-dimer, it's an indicator of long-term na mga clot formation and mga fibrin products, no? So therefore, negative sa traumatic tap kay bago pang nahitabo, all right? Pag puncture yun, na-puncture tong blood vessel pagkuha sa CSF, all right? But for intracranial hemorrhage, it's been going on for some time na. So therefore, there could be a lot of clots na na-form na and na-dissolve. So therefore, the D-dimer production. All right? So I hope na-get na to siya. So ang general concept is intracranial hemorrhage has been going on or nahitabo na siya for a long time or dugay na siya nahitabo. All right? So therefore, possible na ay D-dimer kay mga clots na dugay na nahitabo. And then of course, erythrophages, okay? Kay mga macrophages na gikaon na itong RBCs. And xanthochromic because those RBCs kay old na ni lyse. All right? Okay. And for traumatic tap, it's recent lang yun. Igo lang pag sa collection gud siya, no? Sa collection sa sample na naka-puncture og blood vessel pag collect and na-introduce tong peripheral blood sa imong specimen. All right? So that's the difference between traumatic tap and intracranial hemorrhage. All right? Now, other appearances, oily in the presence of radiographic contrast media in mga radiographic mga procedures, clotted in the presence of mga clotting factors, meningitis, Freund syndrome, and blockage of CSF circulation. So in these cases, pwedeng na-damage ang BBB. So it may have introduced mga, clotting factors, fibrinogen sa imuhang brain, okay, which led to clotting appearance, and pellicle formation, especially in tubercular meningitis, and even mga damages po sa imuhang BBB that may have, again, introduced mga clotting factors or mga fibrinogen. Okay, so that's for the different appearances of your sorry. Sorry. Ay, gutas ang Japon ko. All right, okay. Yeah, appearances of your different of CSF, different appearances of your CSF. Now take note for viscosity of your CSF, dears. Again, it's always quite watery lang siya, no, flowy. Pero you can always describe the viscosity from 0 clear to 4 plus, no? Ay mo di ang clarity di sorry. Katimang turbidity, pwede siyang ma-describe as 0, clear, or 4 plus na ma-blurred ang newsprint. In a way, same sa imuhang urinalysis. All right? Okay, sige, that's for the different appearances of your CSF. Okay? All right, so that's for yes, the different appearances of your CSF. So here's an example. As you can see, muna siyang normal na CSF, clear lang yun siya. Muna siya water, di ba? So be careful. As I've mentioned, kung clear ay mong CSF, niya gi-centrifuge siya, okay? Basta niya ma-mistaken mo siya as the balancer sa centrifuge. Niya mayabu mo. Okay? Letter B, do you think, unsa man ni siya? Of course, this is the intracranial hemorrhage or fresh hemorrhage. As you can see, di ba? Consistent from tube 1 until tube 3, same lang gud ilahang color. Because again, the bleeding is everywhere. So sa tanan na gud na CSF. So bahalag asa na tube or bahalag tanus aka mo collect sa CSF, the color will remain the same. Okay? And then for letter C, as you can see, xanthochromic, medyo yellowish na siya. So it's an old hemorrhage, kaya nangalayas ng RBCs. All right? And letter D, you have again traumatic tap. As you can see, concentrated kayo sa tube 1. Pag abot sa tube 2, kaya medyo ni-clear na siya. And then pagka tube 3 na yun, nawala na itong RBCs. Because then the principle is that traumatic tap, no? Pag collect nimo, na-puncture nimo ang blood vessel. So therefore, ang mga blood ma-concentrate sa first tube. Pero as you go along sa next tubes, medyo muhinay na ang bleeding, all right? Because coagulation happens na to prevent the bleeding na sa imuhang blood vessel na na-puncture. So therefore, wala na kayo yung RBCs na ma-introduce sa imuhang remaining tubes. That's why mo clear up na iyahang appearance. All right? And then of course, pellicle formation, ayan, for CSF. As you can see, mag na siya yung mga pellicle formation. Okay. Ano kong gikul ba? Ano kong gikutasan? Okay. All right. Okay, sige. So any questions so far, dears, before we proceed? Okay, sige. Well, meron ako si Dean Rodriguez gidani ba? Maka-cause of harm ang traumatic tap. Hindi ko alam, dears. Hindi ako nakaano. It could be yes. Pero siguro if ever, of course, if major artery or major blood vessel siguro ang na-hit, of course, the doctor will know kung if major artery or major blood vessel ba yung na-hit. Okay? So that can cause, okay, it could lead to excessive bleeding. All right? But again, yeah, it could make harm. It could be harmful, especially if di siya maagapan. But again, it's part of the doctors na gyud na decision or na gyud silang kamot no sa mo collect ana. So of course if they notice na nasa lima puncture, then they will have to make the appropriate na mga procedures nandito to stop the bleeding. Okay? Because again medyo critical po ng area no kay na siya sa spinal cord dapit. Okay? So yeah, it can be harmful if dili siya magapan agad-agad. Okay. Okay. Mag-recollect balik if nagka-traumatic. Okay, sige. Actually, there's no, if ever magani magka-traumatic tap, take note na this is very, this is very, this is very invasive na procedure. So if magka-traumatic tap, you have to accept ra gyapon. No, depende gyapon siya sa laboratory protocols because again, this is an invasive procedure and it's our goal na it's our goal na dili na mausban ang patient because again, it's an invasive procedure and inconvenient kaya siya. So kung na-traumatic tap dito, you have to note it sa specimen or you have to note it's a report, no? That this came from a traumatic tap, no? Based on your observation mo ni nahitabo, all right? Pero again, for traumatic tap, for acceptance, I believe i-accept ra gyud siya. But again, depende siya sa inyong laboratory protocols. But again, based on our readings, dude, our main goal is to make sure that the patients will not experience this again. Because again, this is very invasive. Okay, so we have to prevent that discomfort and inconvenience from happening again. All right, so as much as possible, ato ra nang i-accept niya. I-note ra nato na this is from a traumatic tap. Then for pellicol, sorry dears, no, nangita na ko picture bitaw. So mura na nagawas. So it could be sa top, pwede po siyang diffuse, no? But usually for pellicle formation, we observe this after refrigeration, di ba? For tubercular meningitis. So possible na sa taas siya mag-concentrate, okay? So pellicle, ayan, pwede siya sa taas. Or after centrifugation, pwede po siyang makita. But generally, gina-observe siya after refrigeration. All right? So nakita ko picture sa internet, yung muna gawas, pasensya. Okay? All right? So I hope na gets lang to siya. Okay, all right. So that's for CSF, okay? So medyo maraming questions talaga for CSF dears, especially put sa boards, no? So kalma lang ta. Okay, all right, sige. So I hope na gets lang to siya. All right. So we now go to the different causes of your xanthochromia, no? So this is from Brunzel Gyapon. So again, it could be hemorrhage, hyperbilirubinemia, of course, especially sa mga infants, di ba? In mga kernicterus patients, no? Hypercarotinemia, if mukaon kag mga food or nakay problem. Meningeal melanoma, so introduce of melanin. Normal neonate, as mentioned, because again, there could be accumulation of bilirubin kay ilahang liver wala pa na fully developed, so walay enzymes to synthesize the bilirubin. Protein concentration exceeding 150 mg per dl, and of course, a previous traumatic tap. So possible na wala na notice ang traumatic tap atong una, so possible na nagpadayon lang siya ginagmay, so therefore na ay murag differences in appearance gyapon. But again, as I mentioned it's in the discretion of the doctor, especially sa pag traumatic tap, no? So they will notice and they will know if na traumatic tap na nahitabo, so they have to make the necessary interventions for that. Okay, all right, so that's for the different causes of xanthochromia for your CSF. This is from Brunzel. Okay, all right, so that's for that is for your CSF appearance. Okay, wait lang lantaw ko sa mga possible. Okay, mag-ano na po taron mag okay, all right. Sige. All right, na lang. Okay, sige. So we now go to the laboratory techniques, no, and examination for your CSF. Starting first with, of course, your CSF cell count. Okay. Now for CSF cell count, usually ang gina-perform good dears is the WBC count and the total cell count. For RBC counts, usually it's of diagnostic. Wala kayo siya significance kayo, no? Because again, CSF normally do not have RBCs, and usually we perform RBC counts for the purpose of determining if it's a traumatic tap or dili. So therefore, parang in terms of its diagnostic significance, wala kayo siya murag pulos, no? Inana. That's what your books mentioned. So that's why usually for determining RBC count, and because difficult to measure your RBCs, kay possible siya na ma-mistaken as other substances or other cells such as mga WBCs nimo. So it's best na lang, usually ang gina-perform nila is total count minus WBC count to determine your RBC count. Okay, so that's what they perform. All right. But for CSF cell count, again, bisag unsa pa na siya na cell count, it should be performed immediately because the WBCs and RBCs begin to lyse within 1 hour, and 40% of the WBCs disintegrate within 2 hours. All right. Now for diluting fluids, usually it's recommended, dears, na if clear ang sample, of course, we examine or we perform the cell count undiluted. Ang sample, di na to siya i-dilute. Okay? But kung na siya different characteristics, like in terms na hazy na siya, medyo turbid na siya, then we have to perform dilution. Okay, what's happening? Okay. All right. Yes, baliw kong off sa inyong mic, dears. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, sige. So for WBC count, routine WBC count, usually we use 3% acetic acid with methylene blue. So the main purpose of your acetic acid is to lyse the RBCs, and for methylene blue is to enhance the nuclei of your WBCs para mas maklaro. Okay. So wait. Okay. All right. Sige. Sige. Next, for RBC count, as I've mentioned, dears, in terms of its diagnostic significance, wala kayo siya pulos. All right. We perform it usually lang for traumatic tap in cases of that, no. But generally, for its significance, it's not really that of diagnostic value, okay, because your RBCs can be mistaken as other cells such as mga clinate, mga WBCs na gamay, mga small lymphocytes. So for RBC count, usually what we perform is total cell count na lang minus WBC count. All right. Now for WBC count, of course, manual WBC count, no, it's routinely performed on CSF. For normal values, for adults is about 0 to 5 WBCs per UL microliters, and for neonates 0 to 30. So as you can see, medyo it's normal for neonates to have majority or daghang WBCs. Okay, and majority of the WBCs sa neonates kay mga monocytes. Okay, so it's normal for that. Okay, but for adults, medyo normal to have 0 to 5. All right. Now, what is the formula for CSF WBC count? Of course, same nagyapon sa inyong HEMA. All right, the number of cells counted times the dilution factor. All right, over the area times depth factor, which is at a constant of 0.1. All right, and the WBC count is per UL na siya. But again, remember that per ml pa din. So you have to multiply it by 1,000 para ma-change siya to UL, di ba? Because so ni conversion na nalimot ako. Basta you have to multiply it by 1,000. Okay, because 1 ml, di ba, is equivalent to 1,000 UL. Tama ba? Basta you have to multiply it by 1,000. Pasensya, dear, my HEMA knowledge is failing me. Okay, all right. Ayan, sige. That's for the CSF WBC count. Okay, but again, depende siya sa appearance, dears, of your sample. Okay, because again, depende siya sa appearance. If the CSF is clear, then it should be performed undiluted. Because again, if you mo pa siyang i-dilute, okay, you are expected manggod na kung clear ang specimen, medyo gamay ra ang cells na naa dito. All right? So kung undiluted, if imo siya i-dilute, masamot siya kagamay. All right? So it's best to perform it undiluted. Now, as you can see, pag magka-intense na iyahang appearance, your dilution also increases para mas mugamay siya. Okay? All right. So for bloody, 1 is to 10,000. All right. For slightly hazy, 1 is to 10. For hazy, 1 is to 20. All right. So take note of that, dears. May mga questions na ganyan. What is the dilution for slightly cloudy CSF? What is the dilution for cloudy or slightly bloody na CSF? All right. So as you can see, 1 is to 10, 1 is to 20. Then kung ani mo 0, 1 is to 100, 1 is to 200, and then lastly 1 is to 10,000. All right. Now for RBC count, that's for your WBC count. All right. Dilution factor is, of course, you have to reciprocal. No, kailangan mo siya reciprocal. So, kung depende ani kung sa imong dilution, let's say kung 1 is to 200 imong gigamit, so ang imong DF is of course 200. Imo siyang i-reciprocal. Diba? Dilution factor is the reciprocal. Okay, all right. Now, for RBC count, again, it's only done in cases of traumatic tap. And when there is an RBC count, we also use it to correct, no, for WBC count and total protein concentration. Because again, we are expecting na pag traumatic tap, di ba, na puncture ang blood vessel. So it could have introduced mga WBCs and protein from the blood vessel sa imuhang specimen. So you have to perform corrections. So you have to minus 1 WBC for every 700 RBC seen, minus 8 mg per DL for the total protein for every 10,000 RBCs seen and minus 1 mg per dl of protein sa total protein concentration for every 1,200 RBCs seen according to Strassinger. Okay, so that's for correction purposes. But again, these correction purposes daw tend to overcorrect your counts. So most likely, dili gyud kayo po siya kasaligan. But in this cases, no, because we are evaluating traumatic tap, no, we are in the premise that the traumatic tap could have introduced, no, protein from the blood vessels coming from the plasma, from the blood into your specimen. So we have to correct the results. Okay, so that's for the RBC count. Sige, wait, sa mani. Yeah. Go to DF na mo, sir, is 1:20. Ayun. Di naman siya go-to talaga, no? O sana all my go-to. If dili I mentioned, sir, ang go-to DF na mo, sir, is 1:20. Not necessary. Basta dears, if dili siya i-mention, you expect na lang, for me you expect talaga that the specimen is undiluted. It's clear, no? Because why would you not mention the dilution if nag-dilute mangani ka? Okay? So if it's not mentioned, you have to expect na it's undiluted. Okay? Kaya if mo mention siya dito na a CSF sample was loaded diretso, walay dilution. So it means it's undiluted. So clear ang sample. Pero if ang purpose gyud sa imong nagama sa question sa exam is for you to calculate, iya jud ibutang ang dilution. Okay? For me that's ano ha. So if wala siya na mention, dears, expect na it's undiluted. Okay? All right, sige. So kung magkontra mo ako storyahan to teacher, charot check lang. Sino ba naman ako? Charot lang bitaw. For me, if wala gi mention kung say dilution, then you are in the premise that it's undiluted. It's a clear sample. All right. Yes, Van, thank you. Imo siyang address because yes, I have a table for that. That's the next slide, no? So for your sa CSF rani, but kanisha dears, this is from Branzel Gyapon. This is a table for general na gyud tanang body fluids. Okay? Bahalag dili CSF muna iyahang table. But kanisha, this is from, I think ikuha na ko ni sa Strassinger. Okay? This is from Strassinger. So siguro if mag-conflict gani kung slightly cloudy na then follow na gyapon ta sa Strassinger. Okay? Strassinger na gyapon ta. Because in a way, I think mo pa ginagamit siguro for your compre. So, but for Branzel, nagyud sila differences in terms of their hipang mention. All right? So here's an example. This is a table for all the body fluids na gyud na dilution. Bahalag CSF siya or dili. All right? And these are also other diluents for other body fluids. No? So unsay ang purpose, unsay iyahang comments and all that para asa siya ng mga counts. This is again the diluents for all the body fluid cell counts, bahalag CSF ka siya or dili. Ako na siyang gi-include diri kay para dita makalimot. Okay, ako na siyang gi-percent. Kay again sa board exam medyo Branzel na daw ang gikuha. So maybe in your review season, dears, kung asa mo na review center, baka i-emphasize na, no, na ang atong i-answer kay Branzel na gyud, kay usually Branzel na daw ang questions. But for now, let's stick muna with Strassinger. Okay? All right. So medyo na conflicts, pas medyo mga conflicts between different references, no? But yes, so kato atong table na gi-mention kanina, that is from Strassinger, if not mistaken. I think. All right. Now, this is also from your Branzel, dears. So na-siya procedure, no, on how to perform your cell counts. Ayan. So for semen, for CSF, and all that. So you have to count muna 200 cells. If it's less than, ayan, 200 cells, mo count ka sa 9 large squares tanan, all right? But if it's more than 200 cells, imo rang i-count kay ang 4 corner large squares and the center large square. All right. So, but for Strassinger, for WBC count, ayang gibutang ra is you count the 4 large corner squares and the center. All right. So therefore, ang area ana is pila man. This is 1 large square is 1 millimeter square, di ba? And since you're using 5 large squares, so therefore your area is 5. Okay, that's for WBC cell count. Okay, now manual cell count. Okay, but for RBC, of course, follow gyapon ka kani 5 na RBC squares. But again, depende siya sa katong gibutang here na procedure ni Branzel. Okay, if less than 200 cells daw ang naa, you count everything, 9 large squares. But if it's greater than 200, you count lang the 4 corner large squares. Okay, 4 corner ba o kapilang center? Ayan. 4 corner lang pala. Sorry, wala pilang large center. That's according to Branzel. All right? And you have to perform daw, dears. You make sure that ang duha ka chambers, iyahang counts should not be greater than 20% of the highest count. So example, there is an example, the highest count is 153. So you found the 20% of that. The 20% is 31. Okay, so therefore, imong isubtract ang duha, the answer is 18. So therefore, you can proceed with cell count. Because if greater than 31, which is greater than 30%, at 20% imuhang error or wala sila nag-agree, you cannot proceed with your cell count because there could be differences in the precision. All right, so you have to dilute pa, all right, or you have to dilute. Okay, but if ni-agree siya within 20% lang, all right, then you can proceed with the cell count. So this is an example. This is from Brenzel Gapon. All right, so again, that's for your cell count. Again, same siya o formula gyapon sa imong WBCs. But for now, if hatagan mo og problem calculating WBC cell count, then of course follow lang gyapon sa formula. If gi-mention there's na 5 large squares iyahang gi-count, then of course your area will be 5, okay? And the depth will always be 0.1. So constant ra gyapon siya, all right? So and then of course pwede mong i-average para sa aning option 1 or pwede mo siyang i-add, i-sum ra nimo siya. Pero imong area pud sa ubos, okay? Mo times 2 pud siya. Kay mo man gigamit ang area number of chambers sa taas katong first chamber and ang second chamber pud sa ubos. That's the option number 2. If imo lang i-add ang duha ka cells, okay, na nakitaan sa first chamber and second chamber, then imong area pud imong i-add, okay? Kay imong chamber 1 5 mm square yung area, ang chamber 2 pud kay 5 mm square. So that's why 10, okay? Both of them will yield the same result. Okay, but again, I think you're all familiar with this, the average. So, pwede po mo na tayo gamiton. Okay, all right. So that's for your WBC cell count, manual WBC cell count. Actually, of course, for automation, we have already a lot of machines that can perform automated cell counts. But for CSF, it's still being performed manually because again, generally your CSF cells kay medyo gamay lang yun siya. All right. And if mo siyang i-automated, possible na naay mga background interference from the different cells sa imuhang machine and all that. So possible na there are some differences or mga different results in precision and accuracy sa imuhang result. So that's why your WBC or your cell counts for CSF is still being performed manually. Okay? All right. So that's for your WBC count. So ano ganing WBC count atong ginagamit? Because again, majority or most of the time, ang increase in their WBC cell count, especially in CSF, indicates an infection. And generally, the highest increase in WBC cell count is usually indicated or seen in meningitis, especially bacterial meningitis. That's why this is routinely performed. Okay, and as I've mentioned, one of the most common reasons why we perform CSF analysis is for the detection of meningitis. Okay, all right. So that's for your CSF WBC count. So for total cell count, dears, according to Brenzel, for total cell count, if greater than 200 cells gihapon, you count the 9 large squares, okay? And if it's less than 200, katurang 4 corner large squares. So kung total cell count, meaning tanan na gyud na cells, mapa WBC or RBC man gani na siya. All right? Because as you can see, di ba, ang dilution nimo for total cell count is just saline. Okay? So wala kay ELISE na anything. So count ra gyud ka dito and then solve for the total cell count. And then you solve also for WBC count and then pwede mo siya i-minus to arrive at the RBC count. Okay, so that's the possible methodologies nato. All right, but you can also perform the RBC manual cell count. Okay, pwede pod following gyapon kani sa imuhang squares. But again, medyo wala siya diagnostic value because again, it's more on determining lang traumatic tap. Okay, so that's for your CSF cell count, manual cell count. So we're talking more about the concentration or the amount of cells. All right, but after cell count or manual cell count, of course, we can also perform the differential count, especially for WBCs. But before we perform that, of course, it's recommended that your CSF differential count should be performed on a stained smear. And before we make a smear, of course, we should concentrate first your sample before smearing by using the following methods. Number 1 is cytocentrifugation. Number 2 is, of course, centrifugation. Number 3 is sedimentation. And you have number 4, filtration. Now, sedimentation and filtration, they are not routinely used, pero they produce less cellular distortion, of course, because sedimentation, filtration, igura ka magulat na mo sediment or imo siyang ipaagi rag filter. Okay, whereas for centrifugation, imo siyang subject to centrifuge. So possible na ma-expose siya to trauma, so there could be distortions, all right? Now, for most laboratories, wala cytocentrifuge. So routinely, of course, we still perform the normal centrifugation. So usually it's centrifuged at 1,500 RPM for 15 minutes. Okay, that's the centrifugation sa routine, all right, for CSF. But of course, ang best good dears is cyto centrifugation. All right. So, unsa ng cytocentrifuge? Now, your cytocentrifuge again, it can be it can be used to produce permanent slides of urine sediments and even body fluids. All right. So, later I picture unsa yang murag principle. All right. But ang principle lang yun overall, dears, is that your cells will be concentrated in a monolayer, meaning single layer agad in a slide. So, therefore, ma-concentrate lang tanan dito. So, mas easy na lang siya ma-visualize. All right. So this 6 mm diameter circle is known as the monolayer, and dirang tanang cells makitaan. All right. Now you could also add albumin according to Strassinger 30%. Pero for Brunzell about 22%. No, so na po yung mga differences, no, but again Strassinger 30%. All right. Now what is the purpose of your albumin? It increases cell yield and recovery and also decreases cellular distortion. All right. Now when the body fluid is clear, about 5 drops of your body fluid is added directly to the chamber. However, depending on the nucleated cell count, it can be as few as 2 drops or as many as 10 may be used. Dito sa imuhang, magbase ka sa imuhang manual cell count na pod. Alright? So if ever daghan, alright, pwede siyang 2 drops ra, or if gamay, 10 drops. Alright? And when a dilution is needed, normal saline is often used. However, some laboratories may also use a diluent to lyse the RBCs. Again, para again, dili siya maka-interfere sa imong pag-analyze. All right? Now for cytocentrifuge, it's about 5 minutes. And as you can see, ang speed is about 500 RPM according to graphs, and 600 to 800 times G for Brunzell. So as you can see, medyo slow speed lang siya. All right? Because again, to prevent a lot of cellular distortion. Okay? If kusugra kaayo, possible na ma-distort to mga cells. Okay? All right. Now, for microscope slides, there are kanang mga manufactured slides na gyud, all right? And sa manufactured slides, dears, na na-circle dito daan. Meaning dito makitaan ang mga cells na circle, all right? Okay. But if wala, you could also parang measure a 6 mm diameter sa imuhang slide, and then imuhang i-encircle, all right? Or imo siyang i-circle using a wax pencil, all right? Because naay times na kung gamay ra gyud ang cells, dili kay siya maklaro na murag cell button sa tunga. So therefore, at least if nakabutang nakag-circle, na-draw na nimo siya, meaning naara gyud dito ang cells ma-concentrate. Okay? So na-picture later akong pasabot. All right? So here is the assembly of your cytocentrifuge. As you can see, you have here, this is the chamber, conical chamber, and na siya filter paper sa likod. All right? So imo sa siyang ibutang ang slide, all right? Na naay katong circle nimo sa 6 mm diameter, and then you then add the filter card and then the cyto funnel or chamber kung asa nimo butang imuhang sample. So what happens is pagbutang nimo sa sample here, of course, ang fluid moagi diri sa kilid kay kaning sa ubos, all right? So the fluid will be absorbed, the remaining fluid will be absorbed by the filter paper, all right? And ang mabutang na lang sa tunga is the cells. So that's the monolayer na circle sa tunga, all right? So ang purpose of filter paper is to absorb the excess filter, all right? There may be some cells na mabutang pud sa filter, pero dili siya significant iyang loss, okay? Majority pa rin mabutang sa tunga sa imuhang 6 mm diameter, okay? So it's still representative of your sample, all right? And of course, this is the centrifuge. Yan, mura siyang normal centrifuge, okay? All right? And then of course, as you can see, 900 iyang speed. So medyo slow ra gyud siya, all right? Okay. Now here is from Strassinger. Ayan. So this is the complete assembly. As you can see, dears, iyahang in-load position, medyo naka-tilt siya. Alright? Because again, para dili mo tapot imuhang fluid sa filter paper, munang iyang gitilt gamay. Pero pag operation na, of course, iyahan na gipatindog para imuhang fluid tanan gikan diri sa chamber, padulong na sa filter, ma-absorb, and then of course, the cells will be concentrated sa center sa slide. Alright? Okay, so that's for your cytocentrifuge. And here's an example, as I've mentioned, imo siyang encirclean daan. So kaning cell button, that's the monolayer. Dra gyud makita ng cells. But there are some instances na possible na gamay ra gyud ang cells, dili ni siya maklaro, all right? But at least naman kay circle gibutang before the centrifugation. So you are now sure na ang imuhang i-examine kanira gyud na diri sa tunga. All right? Because the cells are concentrated there. Okay? And you examine first sa LPO, all right? And then examine na next sa HPO, and then last na sa oil immersion. All right? Okay. My question? What is happening? Okay. All right. So here's an example of a picture or a under the microscope of a cytocentrifuge or a cytospin. Ayan, cytospin na preparation. As you can see, there's very concentrated yun kayo siya. Klaro yun kayo ang cell, although naigagmay na distortion, pero majority of the appearance of the cells, klaro ra gyapon. Ma-identify ra gyapon mo siya as the lymphocyte or unsa mga ni siya na cell. All right? Okay, so that's for the cytocentrifuge. So it's best good because again, it can concentrate all the cells in a monolayer. All right? So that's for your cytocentrifuge. Okay, all right. Yes, my question. Okay, all right. Sige, mag-mute ko ha, pasensya. Okay, all right, sige. All right, now we continue this table, dears. Depending sa imuhang number of WBCs counted in your chamber, all right, sa imuhang manual cell count, muna mong expected number of cells na makitaan. All right, so about 0 to 40, etc. All right, so depending on the WBCs. So as you can see, if daghan yung WBCs nakita nimo sa chamber, mas daghan po kang ma-recover sa imuhang cytocentrifuge. So, gimension sa STRAS na if daghan kaayong cells yung makuha, then because basin kumpul-kumpul kayo sila, dili na kayo maklaro, you have to repeat the procedure. Baka i-dilute pa nimo siya gamay para at least individual gid siya, maklaro siya ba? All right? And if gamay ra pud kayo muhang specimen or gamay rang cells na makitaan, then you have to concentrate pag yun, all right? And stain properly para jud makita. All right? Okay. Now this is from Branzel Gapon, same principle pero iya kay nucleated cell count, all right? Pila ka drops imuhang butangan. So if of course gamay ra imuhang nucleated cell count, mas daghan gyud imong ibutang na drops of body fluid. And if daghan na kayo siya na nucleated cell count imuhang pag manual cell count nimo sa total cell count ba, all right? So the number of drops nimo ibutang sa imuhang cytocentrifuge gamay na lang because you're expected na daghan kayo or concentrated kay imuhang sample. All right? So that's for your cytocentrifuge. Okay? All right. Now for cytocentrifugation, of course, you can stain it with Wright stain. Okay, you can also stain it with Gemsa, all right, and even Papa Nicolaus, all right. For urine cytodiagnostic katong na-mention nato, the best stain is Papa Nicolaus, all right. Pero for dire mga cell count, we can use mga hema na stain, mga Wright stain or Gemsa. Okay, all right. Now for CSF diff count, ayan, so we'll now look at the different cells sa imuhang CSF normal, all right? So the predominant cells in your CSF are lymphocytes and monocytes. So occasional good ang neutrophils, all right? So therefore, the increase in neutrophils is significant, okay? Because occasional lang siyang makitaan sa imuhang CSF. For adults, as you can see, 70 to 30 ratio. 70% ang lymphocytes and 30% ang monocytes. But for neonates, as you can see, inverse ang ratio, mas daghan ang monocytes. All right? And the term, of course, is we have pleocytosis. For pleocytosis, it's an abnormal condition and it refers to the increase in number of normal cells in CSF. That's for Strasinger. But for ubang references, ilahang gimension, pleocytosis is an increase in the number of cells. So last lagi mention na normal. Na ubang references na ingon na increase in the number of WBCs ragyod. So basta na increase in the number of cells, then that is pleocytosis. All right? Okay, sige. That's for your CSF diff count. So we now look at the different cells. Of course, lymphocytes and monocytes, same appearance I put actually from the peripheral blood. All right. So it's normal, but increased levels can be seen, of course, in viral and tubercular fungal meningitis and even syphilitic meningitis in cases of neurosyphilis. All right. And usually ang increase ana kay lymphocytes. And of course, multiple sclerosis. All right. Which is an autoimmune disease. Okay. So therefore, there could be increased IgG production, antibodies. So therefore, there could be increase in lymphocytes. All right. All stages of development can be found, and the monocytes may be mixed with your lymphocytes. So as you can see, medyo same like appearance, dears, but take note the monocytes are larger to your lymphocytes. And as you can see, diba, your lymphocytes have a smaller NC ratio, meaning mas dako siyang nucleus kaysa sa yung cytoplasm. Yes, hima ka mo sa tayo dyan. Wow, hilas kayo ko na wala dyan kong hima. Anyway, so same appearance sa gyapon with your blood, peripheral blood. Also, in cases of, since in a way, same siya with your peripheral blood, there could also be reactive lymphocytes na medyo, in cases of different diseases, reactive. So mo change siya into shapes, no? Pwede siyang mo extend iyahang cytoplasm and all that. So it could be reactive. There could be reactive lymphocyte. All right. Next, of course, your neutrophils. Ayan, of course, iyang importance is bacterial meningitis. Okay. Now, aside from that, it can also be seen in early cases of viral, tubercular, and fungal meningitis. All right. But later on, if mo progress na ang disease, possible na ang neutrophils na ginang mutaas. Aside from that, it can also be seen in cerebral hemorrhage and intrathecal administration of drugs, meaning gisulod diri sa brain ang drugs, all right? So possible na mo increase ang neutrophils, all right? Now granules may be less prominent and the cells may disintegrate rapidly. Some cells can be seen na ingested na organism such as here. So it's a gram-positive bacilli. Sige daw Bing, kisa may mga organism na to na makakause og meningitis na gram-positive bacilli. Nako. Nako, dapat press the buzzer na. Kinsa man. Kinsa may possible organism. Kani siya, na itsura. Kinsa man. See?
Group B strep.
Group B strep. Bacilli dahil. Final answer.
Sorry, sir.
Sinasabi ko na Group B strep. Okay. Bacilli dahil. What is happening? Gikalimtan na ginang microwave. Bahala ka. Abi gumana og kompre. Possible. Bitaw dears. Kinsa man na? Very good, Kara. Listeria monocytogenes. Naku. Ang galing. Listeria monocytogenes. Very good. O, diba? Basta gani gram-positive bacilli, remember, Listeria can also be an agent of meningitis. Naku talaga. Sinasabi ko talaga yung mga micron yun. Ako, saan na lang. Okay, alright. Sige. So that's for neutrophils. Okay, so iahad yung dears, iahad yung significances in bacterial meningitis. There could be also certain appearances imuhang neutrophils kay pycnotic, meaning ni shrink na yung nuclei. So it could indicate disintegration of nuclei, disintegration of the neutrophils. All right, and they may appear as nucleated RBCs. So later night pictures sa nucleated RBCs, the presence of nucleated RBCs indicate contamination from the bone marrow. All right, so possible na pagkuha sa sample na ay naigo na bone, all right, nabuslutan po ng bone, na-introduce ang bone marrow. So therefore na ay nucleated RBCs na nakitaan. All right, very good ha, Listeria monocytogenes. Possible, no? Gram-positive bacilli. Oh my God. Okay. Yes. Yes, my question. What's happening? Unsa man? Okay. All right. Sige. Kulbahan ko. All right. Next, you have macrophages. Of course, for macrophages, these are phagocytic cells. Usually, they are seen in CNS hemorrhage, as mentioned, katong erythrophages. All right. Again, they may contain phagocytized RBCs. They could also have granules such as hemosiderin, no, such as in siderophages or hematoidin crystals. So, mga hemosiderin, hematoidin crystals usually indicative na gidog hemorrhage. Okay, because again, it could have happened a long time ago. So, ilahan ang na-digest na hemoglobin, right? Na-denature na himo ng hemosiderin and hematoidin na mga crystals. So hematoidin crystals, dears, I'm not sure if naka-picture later. Mga siya, golden brown na mga crystals. So it's a hemoglobin degradation product yapon, and ang sulod niya kay usually bilirubin na lang, walay iron. Okay? Now another is your your macrophage could also have ingested fats such as lipophage or lipophage. And this is seen following a brain infarct, no, such as mga stroke or na ay tissue na damage, all right? So there is fatty degeneration of the cells. So mukhaon siya sa imuhang mga fats dito sa imuhang brain. So iyahang appearance kay mura siya foamy, no? Na siya mga daghang bubbles or mga circles sa iyang cytoplasm. All right? So here's an example, macrophage on an intracellular yeast. You have here kani dears, kani mga murag ghost cells or vacuoles mo na siya mga RBCs, no, na yang gi-ingest. And kani siya mga hemosiderin granules, di kay klaro, pero kani siya color blue, ayan, kani mga dark blue, okay, those are the hemosiderin granules. And then you have here also this one, hematoidin crystals, ayan, di ba? It's parallelogram in shape, all right, and medyo golden brown ang iyang color, okay, and hemosiderin gyapon, kani mga dark blue, kani dears, kani siya mga murag reddish or light red na circle, kani siya mga RBCs na iyang kaon. Okay, so that's for your macrophages. Okay, so mga phagocytic cells. All right, okay. Sige. Next, of course, you have the different mga malignant cells or mga blast forms, no? So blast forms, of course, in different mga cancer cells, no? Example, mga leukemia, if mo metastasize siya sa brain, possible na mabot siya sa imuhang CSF, okay? For lymphoma, of course, disseminated lymphoma, and for plasma cells in cases of multiple sclerosis or lymphocyte reactions. So again, still the same, no? Ilahang appearance, in a way, same gyapon sa peripheral blood. So plasma cell, lymphoblast, as you can see, there's usually mga clump cells sila, all right? Pero as you can see, ilahang appearance kay dili uniform, na uban na medyo dakog nucleus gyud, na uban na medyo gamay-gamay pa. So, but usually they appear in clumps, no? And here example of lymphoma cells, as you can see, yung mga cleft nuclei, meaning medyo na mga lobules, iyahang nuclei. But as you can see, iyahang appearance kay dili uniform, okay? All right, so take note of these mga cells. All right, sa imuhang CSF. Again, arising from different mga cancers, such as your blood cancers, such as your leukemia and mga lymphoma. Next, of course, the normal cells that are lining your is example mga choroid plexus cells. So you have the ependymal, choroidal, and spindle-shaped cells. So usually makitaan siya or mo increase siya in mga diagnostic procedures in a way na murag nakagi-introduce sa brain, mga encephalogram, no? Possible na ma-disrupt sila, na ma-introduce sa CSF, all right? So here's an example. As you can see, clusters gyapon sila, pero ilang appearance kay medyo uniform. So medyo same rag size and then clump pod sila. So muna siya murag you have to take note because this can be mistaken as a malignant cell or parehas ani, no? Ni mga lymphoblast, parehas sila itsura. So you have to look at the appearances, all right? So ang imuhang ependymal, choroidal, mga normal cells in your brain, in your skull, in the choroid plexus, no, they are usually in clump forms pero uniform ilahang appearance, okay? All right, so we also have this spindle-shaped cells. The spindle-shaped cells, iyahang purpose is for, is lining the cells of the arachnoid, all right? And if daghan niya siya, possible that it can indicate malignancy po, all right? But generally, again, these are normal cells that could have been introduced to the CSF because of mga diagnostic procedures sa brain, such as mga encephalogram, mga inano, all right? Okay, but again, they may be mistaken as the mga malignant cells, mga lymphoma cells, or mga leukemia cells. All right, next for malignant cells, same gap po, no? Because of carcinomas, all right? So it could be metastatic carcinomas arising from different organs, usually from the breast, from the colon, no? Kana sila dira magikan or pwedeng gyud sa CNS mismo na carcinoma such as mga medulloblastoma, glioma, astrocytoma, so kato na mga cancers, all right? So as you can see again, irregular forms, ayan, could be clumped pero irregular ilang mga forms, all right? Na yung mga nuclear irregularities, all right? And dili siya normal ilang appearances, okay? All right. Now usually in mga metastatic cancers such as ALL, AML, no, or mga lymphoma or metastatic carcinomas, medyo difficult, no, to treat if mabot na sa brain because again, remember that the drugs usahay or the drugs for these diseases can be difficult to reach the brain because of the blood-brain barrier. So possible na there is an involvement of the brain in these types of cancer because again, the tambal or the drug for these diseases cannot reach the brain because of the BBB, blood-brain barrier. All right. Okay, that's for the malignant cells. Okay. Now for eosinophils, of course, eosinophils rarely seen, but it's usually seen in parasitic infections and of course fungal infections, primarily coccidioides immitis. All right. And the introduction of foreign material could be allergic reaction, no, mga medications and shunts into your CNS. So same appearance gapon with your blood, no? Eosinophilic granules, orange, all right? And muna siya there's ang NRBCs, as you can see, di ba? NRBCs again is as a result of bone marrow contamination. Okay, possible na igo ang bone, all right, sa mga vertebra pag collect sa sample. So na-introduce ang bone marrow. Okay, all right, so that's for your different cells found in your CSF. Okay, all right, so that's for the cells. Okay, now for Brunzell again, summary of the different percentages of the normal cells in your CSF. As you can see, for neonates, ang kinadaghanan good is monocytes. For children, sa ani na edition, wala pa siya na-establish. Okay, but for adults, as you can see, ang kinadaghanan na kay lymphocytes. So very common question po na sa boards there. I remember sa una, sa akong boards, ang nainigawas dito, which of the following is the predominant cell in bronchoalveolar lavage, madagay? And what percent siya or what percent is the predominant cell? So ano ko na shocks, oh my God, what is this? Hindi ko alam. So nagpatakar ako ato, no? So when we go to bronchoalveolar lavage, and sa inyong notes, dira, no, alveolar macrophages ang pinakadagan. Okay? So it's a common question, no? So take note of the percentages. For neonates, again, monocytes ang kinadaghanan, pwedeng 80% or 50 to 90. And for adults, you have lymphocytes. Okay? All right, that's for Branzel. And this is from graphs, no? What are the expected cells found after hours of hemorrhage? As you can see, as you go older or as you go longer, ang makita na gid mo kay mga macrophages. And usually these macrophages have ingested something, no, from the RBC, such as siderophage, no, which have ingested mga hemosiderin granules, and of course, those that contain mga hematoidin or hematin crystals, which are mga breakdown products of hemoglobin. So therefore, they indicate long-term na gyud, no, na hemorrhage, dugay na nahitabo. Because again, nag-breakdown ng hemolysis, ayan, nag-breakdown ng RBCs na hemolyze na sila. All right? Okay, so that's for, sa graph ni siya na textbook. Okay? All right, sige. So that's for your CSF na mga cells. Okay? All right, sige dears. Next, we go now to your chemical na chemistry, no, na mga chemistry tests. So daghan yung mga chemistry tests that can be performed, pero again, ato lang i-focus to mga na diagnostic value. So we'll start first with CSF protein. For CSF protein, of course, this is considered to be the most frequently analyzed chemical analyte in your CSF. Okay, normal values is about 15 to 45 mg per dl. All right, so it's less than 1% or 1/200ths, no, of serum protein. So as you can see, gamay ra gid siya because again of the BBB. For infants, it could be 150 mg per dl, and for immature, possible na 500 mg per dl because again could be na wala pa na fully develop ilahang BBB. So therefore, possible na medyo ubay-ubay pang protein na maabot dito. Okay? Now, what is the significance? When is it increased? Of course, in cases of damage to the BBB. So meaning, wala na mo filter sa protein na possible na ma-filter from the plasma. So munang mo increase iyahang concentration. Another one is meningitis or hemorrhage because again, this could have damaged your BBB, your blood-brain barrier. Next, in cases of production of immunoglobulins within the CNS in cases of multiple sclerosis. All right. So multiple sclerosis, autoimmune disease, no. So therefore, involved yung mga immune cells. So there are production of antibodies. Okay, and antibodies are protein. So therefore, mo increase of protein. Next, decreased normal protein clearance from the fluid. All right. There could because of obstruction siguro or na problema sa flow of CSF. And of course, number 4, neural tissue degradation. So nangaguba na yung mga brain cells or mga neural tissues, of course, they release protein to the CSF. Decreased in, of course, CSF leakage or trauma na yung mga tear na napunit sa imuhang dura mater sa imuhang meninges. So therefore, nag-leak imuhang CSF, so nigama imuhang protein. Number 2, recent puncture. Could be again because of leakage nakuhaan, all right? Rapid CSF production and water intoxication. So too much water will kill you, of course. So na-dilute imuhang protein concentration. Now, as you can see, what are the components of the CSF protein? Of course, majority is still albumin. So it's still the same from your plasma in a way, na albumin gyapon ang pinakauna. Pero ang second most prevalent na sa imuhang CSF are the pre-albumin or also known as your transthyretin. Okay, so I think transthyretin na ang accepted na name na niya karon. But anyway, ayan, pre-albumin or your transthyretin. So it may also have your alpha globulins, your haptoglobin and ceruloplasmin because they could be mga low molecular weight lang ni sila. So pwede na makapass sa imuhang BBB. You also have the beta globulins, especially transferrin. And ang transferrin pag yun, na siya second fraction, which is a carbohydrate deficient transferrin or sialic acid deficient, known as the tau fraction, no? And this tau fraction can only be found in CSF, all right? So therefore, if you have an unknown fluid and you want to determine if it's CSF or not, then you have to test for this protein, the tau transferrin fraction, okay? Because it can only be seen in CSF. True enough, therefore, if na mga fluid na manggawas sa imuhang ears or sa imuhang nose, and you want to determine if that is CSF or not, then you test for tau transferrin fraction, all right, using electrophoresis, all right? And if positive siya for tau transferrin fraction, therefore, kanang fluid na nigawa sa imuhang ear or sa imuhang nose is CSF. And what is that condition? Otorrhea and rhinorrhea. So, kano sa man na siya ma-happen, sir, if na ay mga tear, na mga napunit sa imuhang meninges dito dapita. All right? So, ni-leak siya sa imuhang nose or sa imuhang ears. Natay murag nakoy nakita ani nabasa na murag article or case nang gasige siya og sip-on, no? Like gasige siya murag sinusitis or daw to. Sige siya og like flowy runny nose, no? Iyahang sip-on. And then gasigi ra gyud siya og sip-on. So pag check sa fluid, they found out that dili siya sip-on but CSF. It was leaking through the patient's nose. Kay possible na na tear sa iyahang meninges that could have introduced the CSF padulong sa iyahang nose. All right? And that is known as rhinorrhea. Take note. Kung rhinorrhea, nose. Kung sa ears, otorrhea. All right? Okay. Ano sa nato na protein imuhang i-detect? Tau protein or tau fraction of the transferrin. Okay? All right. For gamma globulins, there are some antibodies. Of course, you have IgG and IgA, which again could be low molecular weight lang. But oh my gosh. But IgM, of course, cannot be found. Gano man, because IgM is big, di ba? It's macroglobulin. It's the largest, the heaviest antibody. And what are some proteins not found in CSF? You have fibrinogen and lipids, beta lipoprotein. Because again, they could be heavy and they could be large. Di sila kasulod sa imuhang BBB or di sila ka-pass through sa BBB. All right? So take note of that. Okay, sige. Now for CSF protein determination, pwede siyang total protein or pwede siyang fractions. So for total protein, we can use turbidimetric methods. So we rely on turbidity, no? We add acids such as trichloroacetic acid or sulfosalicylic acid. So for TCA or trichloroacetic, iyang i-precipitate ang both albumin and globulin. And for sulfosalicylic acid, it's only albumin. Pero kung ganahan kay precipitate ang globulins, you add sodium sulfate. Another one is dye binding. So ang dye mismo ang mo bind sa protein, so yung i-color, you use Kumasi brilliant blue. So protein binds to dye and the dye turns from red to blue. So increased protein meaning increased in blue color. So this is just an example. There's di siya from CSF. So cells ra ni siya that contains proteins and then giday siya sa gigamit siya og Kumasi brilliant blue. So dili na siya sa CSF ha. Just to illustrate the picture or just to illustrate the reaction. Okay. Now if you want to determine the fractions of protein, okay, you can perform the different tests. Number one is for CSF serum albumin index. So you determine the integrity of the blood-brain barrier because the normal CSF serum albumin ratio, as you can see, mas gamay gid sa CSF compared sa serum. So in order to determine, you compare the composition or the concentration of albumin sa imong CSF over your serum albumin. Take note, dears, iyahang units is mg per dl sa CSF. For serum, it's grams per liter ni dears, if I'm not mistaken. Paki-check daw, baka nagkamali ako, na-typo ko. Or baka G per dl din na. But as you can see, ang point lang is mas daghan sa serum albumin. Alright? Now, normal value, of course, as you can see, less than 9. Meaning, mas taas dapat ang sa ubos kaysa sa taas. Diba? Remember that mas daghan jud dapat ang serum albumin kaysa sa taas. Okay? Pero if greater than 9, then dito na siya abnormal. So if it's 9 to 14, slight impairment. 15 to 30, moderate. Greater than 30 is severe impairment. And kung 100 na gyud, complete damage to BBB. So meaning, mas taas na ang imuhang numerator. Okay? So therefore, mas daghan ang CSF albumin kaysa sa serum albumin. So therefore, na-damage na gyud imuhang BBB. Okay? Because again, imuhang proteins gasigirag makita nagdaghan sa imuhang CSF. Okay, so that's the CSF serum albumin index, and you have the IgG index. It is used to assess conditions with IgG production within the CNS, such as multiple sclerosis. Because again, normal CSF serum IgG ratio is 1:369. Mas daghan gyapon sa imuhang serum kaysa sa imuhang CSF. And as you can see, ang IgG index, dears, i-compare ang imuhang concentration sa IgG sa imuhang CSF sa IgG sa imuhang serum, okay, imo siyang i-divide una over ang albumin concentration pag yun, okay? So again, it's more on assessing for the integrity of the BBB and production of your IgG, no? So if ever kung greater than 0.77, meaning mas taas gyud imuhang numerator, so therefore there is production of IgG sa sulod, okay, sa imuhang brain. And ang less than 0.77, meaning mas taas siya diri sa ubos, okay, sa CSF albumin nimo. So therefore medyo normal ra imuhang IgG levels. All right, so increased levels greater than 0.77, it's indicative of IgG production within the CNS, most likely due to multiple sclerosis. All right. But again, there could be other reasons why mataas ang IgG index. Okay. It could be due to pwede trauma. Tama ba? Let me check. Pwede siya trauma. Okay. Pwede po siya other malignancies. Okay. Okay, all right, yeah. Or other mga neurologic disorders. Okay, so that's the possible reasons kanang mataas siya. And of course, one of that is your multiple sclerosis. Okay, and for Graph's textbook, Deers and Brunzel, ilaharang gi-range no 0.30 to 0.70. Si Strasinger gyud ang nag-ingon na 0.77. Okay, so just to compare, no, in terms lang basin sa inyong question again, if ang question is lantawan na din ang question, no, if mabot ang values o greater than 0.70, so meaning ilahang gikuha siya sa Strasinger, pero if less than 0.70 lang siguro lahi na reference ilahang gamit. But again, I'm very positive na mugamit sila sa Strasinger lang. So, saligrot. Okay? All right, sige. So that's for protein fractions, no, for protein determination. Of course, you can also perform protein electrophoresis, all right, or CSF electrophoresis. So we want to detect mga oligoclonal bands, no, so meaning different bands usually makitan sa gamma globulins, okay, which indicates inflammation, kaya na-increase in antibodies, all right. So it's done in conjunction with your serum to ensure that banding is due to neurologic. So yung siya i-compare, kaya possible na if na-banding sa serum niya, banding po sa CSF, possible na ang infection yun is not really happening only in the brain. It's happening everywhere in the body. Okay? Pero kung ang CSF banding kay nakita na gyud sa imuhang CSF, wala sa serum, then the problem is sa brain mismo. That's why you have to compare, okay, with serum electrophoresis and CSF electrophoresis. So the presence of 2 or more oligoclonal bands sa CSF pero wala sa serum, that is a valuable tool for the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. But take note, it's not only multiple sclerosis, but other neurological conditions such as neurosyphilis, encephalitis, neoplastic disorders, and Guillain-Barré syndrome. All right, so unsa tong mnemonic for that, dears? Mga oligoclonal bands na makitaan sa CSF pero wala sa serum. If makakita mo sa akong notes dito ni Sir Errol, pasensya day dears akong handwriting ha, ang pangit. Okay? Atong mnemonics is Miss Neng. Okay? Si Miss Neng. All right? Miss Neng, kinsa ni sila? Oligoclonal bands found in your CSF pero wala sa serum. Miss Neng, MS, multiple sclerosis, N for neurosyphilis, E for encephalitis, N for neoplastic disorders, and G for Guillain-Barré syndrome. Again, Miss Neng, oligoclonal bands found in CSF but not in serum. Okay, take note of that. All right, Miss Neng. Okay, so very important, dears. Negosyo sa akong boards, I'm sure. Like, ni-ask sila, which of the following have oligoclonal bands in CSF but not in serum? Now, take note, it's not only multiple sclerosis but neurosyphilis, encephalitis, neoplastic disorders, and Guillain-Barré. Sa to mnemonic, Miss Neng. All right, sige. Guillain-Barré syndrome. Sige, babe. Kinsa ganitong murag manawag dagay ko. Charot. Pati if nanapoy mo ano, nanapoy mo leave. Sige. Yan na lang. Yan na lang. Okay, kinsa ganitong bacteria na possible sequelae niya is the Guillain-Barré syndrome. Kinsa? Si?
Campylobacter jejuni.
Galing. Campylobacter jejuni. Very good. Okay, take note of that. One of the sequelae possible of Campylobacter infections is your Guillain-Barré syndrome. All right. Now, next, oligoclonal bands in serum pero wala sa CSF, of course, leukemia, lymphoma, and viral infections. So, kanis lang mga diseases, of course, they induce the production of mga antibodies. All right. Leukemia, so could be na yung mga daghang lymphocytes, no, ALL, lymphoma, of course, and viral infections. And oligoclonal bands found in both serum and CSF, HIV. So, possible HIV na abot na sa brain, yes, na affected na sa brain. Okay, so both serum and CSF, HIV. Only in CSF pero wala sa serum, you have Miss Neng. Only in serum pero wala sa CSF, you have LLV, leukemia, lymphoma, and viral infections. But yun I remember Judaire's Miss Neng. Okay, okay, mura na siya. Miss Neng. Okay, Miss Neng. Okay, all right. So for CSF electrophoresis, here's an example. Ayan, this is the normal pattern. Ang letter A is the normal pattern. Of course, the gamma globulins is in little number. Pero in cases of oligoclonal banding, as you can see, mas daghan siya. So therefore, sa normal, sa imuhang pag-stain ani, all right, mas baga diri sa oligoclonal bands dapit sa gamma region. Okay? So for normal, as you can see, medyo light lang sa CSF, kay gamay lang ng concentration. But for abnormal, oligoclonal bands, ni baga siya diri sa gamma region. Okay? All right. So that's for sani your your CSF electrophoresis. Unsa dagay ni Dears? What do you think is this? Na murag naa gyud sa CSF pero or baga kay siya sa CSF pero sa imuhang plasma kay nipis. Unsa dagay ni kani siya? What do you think that is? Unsa dagay na? What do you think? Jeju. Joke. Unsa man ni? What do you think kani siya? Unsa ni siya na protein? That's your
Tao.
Is that the tau? Tau ba? Tama. Tau. Tama pala. Nandito pala sa picture. Yes, that's the tau transferrin fraction. Okay? Alright. Pasensya. Okay, so take note of that. Alright. So again ha, that's the tau protein, very specific, or sa CSF ra gyud makitaan. Okay, now we go now to the other chemical, sa disease pala, multiple sclerosis. Now multiple sclerosis, Dears, is again is an autoimmune disease. Okay, so there are antibodies found or produced against the myelin sheath. Okay, the myelin sheath again is an insulator, diba? It's made up of fat and protein. Okay, that insulates your neurons and helps in the conduction of the nerve impulse. All right. So in your multiple sclerosis, it's demyelinating, meaning na siya'y pagguba sa imuhang myelin sheath. So there is an anti-myelin sheath antibody, autoantibody. Positive siya for oligoclonal band in CSF again, pero not in serum. Positive for myelin basic protein, okay, which is a protein component, all right, and increase po siya in IgG index. Because again, increase ang IgG index, meaning there's an increase in production of IgG sa imuhang brain because of this autoimmune disorder. All right. Now, what is myelin basic protein, Dears? It is a protein component of the lipid protein complex that insulates your fibers. And the presence of this in your CSF indicates destruction of the myelin sheath. But take note, it's not specific for multiple sclerosis, although it can be measured, no, to monitor the course of disease. But it can also be seen in other conditions such as mga trauma, no, or mga possible conditions na matagtang or ma-damage imuhang myelin sheath, not only multiple sclerosis. Pero it can be used for monitoring because even after remission or magka-okay na or magka-okay na ang patient, possible na gyapon siyang ma-detect. Okay, so that's the importance. All right, now immunoassay techniques are usually used for this measurement and the normal levels is less than 4 ng per milliliters. So greater than 4 ng per milliliter could indicate destruction of the myelin sheath, okay? But again, it's not really specific for multiple sclerosis, okay? Because other conditions can also produce increased myelin basic protein. All right. Next, we go now to the other chemical tests na lang. All right. You have CSF glucose, of course. For glucose, it's determined in conjunction with blood glucose, plasma glucose, because again, the concentration in CSF is quite dependent din naman sa imuhang plasma glucose. So if increase imuhang plasma glucose, all right, so therefore, increase po imuhang CSF glucose. Okay, because again, glucose is readily transported by the BBB pa dun sa imuhang brain. Because again, your brain needs glucose and di ba, brain consumes majority of the glucose yun. All right, so specimen for blood glucose should be drawn 2 hours before the spinal tap para na equilibration. All right, or magka-equilibrium ang concentration sa plasma sa imuhang CSF. All right, now normal values about 60 to 70%, di ba, daho kaayo, of the blood glucose ang naa, and ang ratio niya is about 0.6. All right, normal CSF glucose to serum glucose ratio is 0.6. All right, now increased in hyperglycemia na mga cases such as hyperglycemia, diabetes, no, or other conditions na makakause of hyperglycemia. But of course, asa tamo important yun na lantawon is your decreased levels, which is again usually seen in bacterial, tubercular, and fungal meningitis. But normal siya in viral meningitis. All right. Now again, di ba? Unsa may reason na to, or like what did you know, no? Na reason ngano mo decrease ang glucose in these types of meningitis. Sige daw. Unsa may inyuhang what do you think is the reason why mo decrease imuhang meningitis, imuhang glucose in these types of meningitis?
Utilize ang glucose for energy nila, sir.
Okay, utilize the energy of the bacteria and your neutrophils also, yeah, for your glucose. All right. Any other hypotheses or like explanations why in Hana? Okay. All right. Okay, sige. So actually that's true, no? Actually that's what I thought of pod before, no? So it's easier man gud to grasp the idea na okay, bitaw mugamay jud ang glucose kay na may kagaw, so and neutrophils pag yun. So therefore mugamit sa glucose as energy. But again, recent studies, and you mentioned po sa Strassinger gyud na 6th edition, na mention na gyud siya, no? That although it is possible kana siya na hypothesis, there are also other well accepted theories gyud or hypotheses as to why glucose levels decrease in these types of diseases. Number one is there is a decreased transport of glucose down across the blood-brain barrier. There is alteration in the mechanisms of transport. And number two is the brain cells mismo ang nag-consume sa glucose. No? So those are the other hypotheses and mga medyo well accepted daw. Because there are some diseases na dili, na walay neutrophils, walay bacteria, na decrease gyapon ang glucose. So how would you explain that? No, na i-decrease if wala man day bacteria or neutrophils na mukaon sa glucose. So muna siya yung mga hypotheses, no? Again, there is alteration in the mechanisms of transport of glucose across the blood-brain barrier. And number two, the brain tissues mismo ang nag-consume sa glucose. That's why nigamay ang glucose levels, all right? And sa atong term for decreased glucose levels in the CSF, hypoglycorrhea. All right, take note of that, no? Baka mugawa sa inyong exam niya. Shucks, unsa ni siya? It's your decreased low blood glucose, hypoglycorrhea. I'm not sure if sakto akong spelling dear sa parang mali. Hypoglycorrhea. Okay? Ako na i-double check, ako nang i-correct if mali. Hypoglycorrhea. All right? I'll just check na again, okay? Kung sayo pa akong spelling. But again, that indicates low glucose levels. So once asa ang significant, kanus ang significant ang CSF glucose kung decrease iyahang levels. All right? And for viral meningitis, normal ra siya. All right. Next, you have CSF lactate. Ayan. So for CSF lactate, it's more, it's really partnered siya with glucose in evaluating meningitis. All right, so it's inversely proportional to glucose. Normal values is about 10 to 20 mg per dl. So increased in bacterial meningitis, greater than 35, and tubercular fungal greater than 25. So normal gyapon siya in viral meningitis. Aside from that, it could also indicate mga cerebral infarction or in conditions in which there's hypoxia in the brain. Because again, remember that lactate, no, lactic acid is a product of metabolism, no? Usually anaerobic metabolism. So increase in lactate could indicate that there is problem in oxygen supply to the brain. So there is moments of hypoxia sa brain, okay? That's why nagka CSF lactate, okay? All right. So such as mga trauma to the brain, ischemia, all right? Hemorrhage also possible, all right? And yeah, but majority again, we can differentiate, use CSF lactate to differentiate viral meningitis from bacterial and tubercular meningitis, okay? All right. So CSF lactate levels are actually frequently used to monitor severe head injuries because again of that principle, no? In cases of hypoxia, decreased oxygen levels in the brain, it can produce lactate, all right? And last, you have CSF glutamine, all right? So CSF glutamine, it's more on evaluating the accumulation of ammonia, especially in cases of mga liver disease, mga Reye syndrome, and hepatic coma, because your glutamine is produced from the metabolism of ammonia and together with alpha ketoglutarate, all right? So it's an indirect test for the presence of excess ammonia in the CSF. So normal values is 8 to 18 mg per dl. Disturbance of consciousness, meaning daghan na kayong glutamine, okay? Or wala na excess ng ammonia, all right? So greater than 35 mg per dl of glutamine dears, dito na mo gawas ang mga disturbances of consciousness, all right? So it's usually used as an indicator, no, or a test to determine the origin of an unknown coma. Nakalitrag coma ang patient, all right? So pwede na ito siyang i-test ang CSF glutamine. Kaya possible na ni-accumulate ng ammonia, all right? So because if too much ng ammonia, wala na yung alpha ketoglutarate, okay? So and your CSF glutamine is also supersaturated na, taas na kaayo. So it leads to coma na because the ammonia will not be converted to glutamine na, which is the less toxic na, all right? Mo-accumulate na sa brain and causes coma. All right. So that's for the different chemical parameters. For enzymes, of course, you have LDH. For serum LDH, you have normal. Of course, mas dagan ang LDH2, 2, 1, 3, 4, 5. And for flip pattern, of course, 1 ang mas daghan. For CSF, the normal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And for neurological abnormalities, mas daghan ang 2 kaysa sa 1. And for bacterial meningitis, as you can see, mas daghan ang 5 because siya ang nasa neutrophil. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next, for CK, creatinine kinase, of course, increase in stroke, multiple sclerosis, degenerative disorders, brain tumors, viral bacterial meningitis, and seizures. And of course, AST, increase in intracerebral and subarachnoid hemorrhage, and bacterial meningitis. So again, diba, usually these are enzymes na very not tissue specific. These are the enzymes that can be found in a lot of tissues. Okay, all right. Summary, dears, ayan. This is from, again, your Schlesinger. Decrease in proteins talaga, dears, ang iyahang imuhang, imuhang significance is CSF leakage. Okay? So, medyo, ato na human yung dears, ha? Baka ma-extend ta light, gamay lang yun. Alright? Okay. So, happy na tamahuman. So, we'll now go to meningitis, of course. So, for meningitis, that's the main reason talaga. Primary reason why we are, why we are performing CSF analysis. Alright? So, we have to differentiate the different causes of meningitis. So, number 1, you have, of course, bacteria. So, predominant WBC is, of course, neutrophils because it's bacteria. Protein is increased, possible because of damage to the BBB during meningitis. Glucose is decreased because of those hypotheses na itong na-mention. Lactate is also increased, possible because of byproducts of metabolism of the glucose or sa metabolism of the brain tissue by the glucose. And other information, of course, very important, positive sa gram stain and culture and positive sa limulose lysate test. And here is a table of the different agents of meningitis. Ayan. So as you can see, birth to 1 month old, as you can see, kinsa may common, strep agalactiae and gram-neg rods. Gano dagay? Why do you think so, be? Why do you think so? All right. Let's have Mark, akong kapangalan. Mark, nandiyan ka pa ba? Mark? I'm calling myself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why do you think ang strep agalactiae ang daghan sa infants? Or sa birth di ay, to 1 month old?
I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not entirely sure, sir.
Okay, sige. Call a friend. Why do you think? Sige, talk. Let's para ma-rationalize na to. Sige.
Serious, probably, sir, maybe because the way na mo transmit siya, sir.
Okay.
Transmission.
All right. Okay, possible sa transmission. Okay. All right. Sige. Sige. Let's have si Mariel dears Castillo. Okay. Kaya ako nakita. Sige, dears. Why do you think? Kanang strep agalactiae man? Remember, asa din ang strep agalactiae makitaan. So, naka-mention na si Mark, transmission. That's padulong na dito. Right track na. Okay? Mariel? Diyan ka mo ba? Okay. Alright. Sige. Wala na. Alright. Sige, ako na i-answer para dali no? So, that's true. Tsakto si Mark, it's because of transmission. Remember that your strep agalactiae, again, is found in the vagina of your mother. Okay? So, therefore, possible na pag-agi or pag-deliver sa baby, na-acquire niya ang strep agalactiae. So therefore, that's why it's really common. All right. Next, of course, for 1 month to 5 years old children, diba, usually Haemophilus influenzae. That's why we have the vaccines, diba, HIB, all right, against the serotype B of Haemophilus influenzae. 5 to 29 years old is Neisseria meningitidis, and greater than 29 is strep pneumo. And as you can see, ang listeria, pwede po siya makita sa infants and immunocompromised. Because again, usually, sila ng mga medyo, dila sila makuha, no? Especially for infants, diba? Listeria, usually mo pa siya sa placenta. So possible yun siya na makakosog meningitis. Now, what is the common culture characteristic of these organisms that cause meningitis? Culture, ha? Culture characteristic. Kung sa may expected sa imuhang culture plates, if kani sila, imuhang ma-isolate. Kung sa appearance sa ilang colonies. Unsa?
Mucoid, sir.
Okay, very good. Mucoid colonies. Okay, and some of these also, unsa ilang appearance under gram stain. Unsa ilang makita, you have, these organisms have a
Capsule.
Okay, capsule. Take note of that, diba? Na-mention na nato, dears. Basta mga organisms that cause meningitis, ilahang colonies are mucoid, okay, and they have a capsule. Okay, nako, sana naman, I-remember pa. Kalimtan na ginyo ang bakte ha. My gosh, okay. Next, you have what we call the limulus lysate test. No? So limulus lysate test, it detects endotoxins by the gram-negative bacteria. And what we use is the blood of the horseshoe crab. Ayan, sorry. Ayan, as you can see, it's color blue because your horseshoe crab contains a pigment known as hemocyanin. And that makes your horseshoe blood color blue. All right, hemocyanin. So bali, muna iyang hemoglobin na counterpart. Okay, so iyang reagent is the blood of the horseshoe crab or known as the Limulus polyphemus. So in the presence of the endotoxin by the gram-negative bacteria, it will trigger the amoebocytes or WBCs of the horseshoe blood to release lysate or protein. And this triggers the coagulation pathway in the blood of your horseshoe crab and results to clumping or clot formation. So therefore, the positive for clot formation is the positive for your limulus lysate test is your clot formation. So para asa ganin ng limulus lysate test for gram-neg endotoxin, okay, for CSF determination. All right, for of meningitis. Okay, happy na tamuman, dears. And of course, other na lang causes, of course, viral meningitis, dears, the very, very common causes of aseptic meningitis or viral meningitis is, of course, the enteroviruses. You have poliovirus, ecovirus, and Coxsackie virus. Unsa ni na virus, dears? RNA or DNA? Nako. Kalimtan na po ng viro. Unsa man ni RNA ni sila or mga DNA? These are your
RNA.
Okay, very good. The RNA viruses. Unsa na family? Kalimtan na, sir. Hindi ko na po alam. Kinalimutan ko na po ang viro. This is all under the picoRNA viridae family. All right, so take note, basta gani most common cause of viral meningitis or aseptic meningitis, that is your enteroviruses. Now take note, kung sa kinadaghanan cells, lymphocytes, protein is increased and glucose lactate is normal. Now for tubercular meningitis, of course, it's MTB, all right? Positive siya for AFB stain, acid fast, or pwede pong auramine, rhodamine na fluorochrome. And aside from that, pellicle, web-like clot formation after refrigeration overnight. Take note of that, dear siya. Basta pellicle, web-like clot formation after refrigeration overnight or after overnight refrigeration, kinsa to? Tubercular meningitis caused by MTB. And of course, ang imuhang cells increased kay lymphocytes and monocytes. So same ang presentation sa imong tubercular o fungal meningitis. All right? So increased ang protein, decrease ang glucose, and increase ang lactate. So asa mo mag-differ sa mga smears or sa slides, no? So for AFB, for MTB, and for fungal meningitis, of course, atong agent na ginalantaw is Cryptococcus neoformans, which is one of the most common opportunistic AIDS infections. All right. So positive for gram stain, classic starburst, as you can see, starburst, no? And for India ink, ayan, halo appearance. Alam na niya na yan, gasgas na, no? Capsule is unstained because of the polysaccharide capsule. Wala siya na stain sa imong India ink, and you have the black background. So na siya halo appearance. And of course, immunological tests, no? You have mga latex agglutination tests, mga electrophoresis, and other mga tests. All right? So we'll look into that last na gyud na latex agglutination test, no? Or serologic testing. For serologic testing, latex agglutination and ELISA, this is used for bacterial antigens. And for cases of neurosyphilis, meaning ang syphilis na punta sa brain, you use VDRL or Venereal Disease Research Laboratories. This is the recommended procedure by CDC for the detection of neurosyphilis. And as I have mentioned, if na-remember pa ninyo, dears, basta gani Cinioformans ang gipangutana, unsa gina-detect ana sa serological tests, antigen. Okay? Antigen good sa Cinioformans, usually sa polysaccharide capsule. All right? So it's a more sensitive method than your India ink preparation, pero you still have to confirm it by India ink or even culture because there could be interferences by your rheumatoid factor. Okay? And for rheumatoid factor, di ba, we have to treat the specimen with pwedeng boiling with ADTA to remove RF, or you treat it with enzymes such as pronase to remove RF interference. So although your latex agglutination is more sensitive, it's not really that specific because there could be interferences. Pero again, it's a rapid test to detect Cinioformans na infection. So you have to confirm pa rin with India ink and culture, all right, if possible. All right, so that's for, this is an example, Cryptococcus antigen. Basta gani, dears, ha, na question na, which of the following is detected by latex agglutination tests for Cryptococcus neoformans antigen? Or if ang question kay, which of the following fungal organism is usually detected by antigen testing instead of antibody, you have Cryptococcus neoformans. So wag na mag-isip. Okay? Take note of that, dears. VDRL, syphilis. Sige, question. Is this a treponemal test or is it a non-treponemal test? Nako, kamusta tong IS dyan? Syphilis serology. Okay, kamusta? VDRL, is it a non-treponemal or treponemal test? Treponemal or none? Ano sa Jod? You have VDRL is a non-treponemal test. You detect reagin. Pareha siya sa imuhang RPR, Rapid Plasma Reagin. Ako, kamusta na itong syphilis dyan? Second sem na yan, dears. IS ninyo, kalma. Okay? Laban lang. Mag-prepare na. Hinahinay. Charot. Okay. Next, of course, last na lang is your Queckenstein stent test. So this is a test usually to detect lang by doctors if na blockage sa imuhang spinal cord. Alright? In cases na ang pressure kay taas. Alright? So what the doctor does is iyahang i-press ang jugular diri dapit. Okay? Choke. Yes, charot. Choke me. Charot. Tsaka lang. And then imong lantawon if ang pressure mo increase or dili. No? So if there is an delayed in the increase in CSF pressure, possible na naay blockage dito. Kaya nga namang wala ni increase ang pressure. Okay? Kaya wala ni saka or wala ni agi ang CSF na blockage. All right? So there's an increase in there's a decrease, no? In the delay, there's a delay in the increase of CSF pressure. Okay, that's positive. And again, that indicates blockage, no, to your CSF or sa imuhang spinal cord, no, or sa imuhang spinal cord blockage or sa imuhang brain dapit. Okay, all right. So that's for the Queckenstein test. Also known as a jugular compression test. Okay, all right. And that's the end, dears, of your CSF lecture. Okay. All right. Didn't work. Okay, that's the end. All right. So any questions, dears, before we end? Okay.
Sir, na po question, sir.
Yes, yes. Wait.